Well, I had myself quite the last 10 days. Anyone who's been training for any good length of time, you probably have gone through the ebb and flows of training. What I mean is there's some ups and there's definitely some downs. I was coming off of an up leaving Texas the other day, which was surprising because traditionally speaking, I do terrible training when I'm traveling. Combination of just being on airplanes, being in hotels, not really getting the best nutrition, being out of my element, things usually go pretty bad. This last trip was not the case. Things went awesome, which sucks because when I actually got home, looking forward to training because things had been going so well, I ran into a little bit of a brick wall. So you're watching my last set here on Thursday of low bar squats with 405. Ended up doing 4 sets of 4, and you can tell based off of my face, things were not feeling very good. Talk about a poop face. So that was very discouraging. I thought about actually not even training that day because I was feeling so stiff and so sore from traveling and getting back the day prior, but I wanted to get back on my normal schedule. What you're watching now is my last set of deadlifts from Friday, which was a 4x3 at 505 pounds, and I thought this was going to fly up based off how well my deadlifts went a couple days prior, but these things felt like absolute shit. Now, luckily enough, I'm looking here, they don't look too bad, but they definitely took such a toll out of me that I had to verbally vent my frustration. So here's my top set of bench, which was 290 for a triple, and this, my friends, is one reason why it doesn't pay to connect your phone to your Bluetooth audio device. Hey! So not that you could tell by how slow that bench moved, but I was hustling to get to the phone and I ended up missing his call anyways. And that pretty much set me up for a bad weekend. I was really down on myself again because I was coming off such a high of training in Texas and the last 2 days of my training session just didn't go how I planned. So that brought me back to Monday's session, which you're seeing here, which is the last working set on high bar squats. 3 sets of 6 at 370 pounds. Didn't really know what to expect. But then again, I didn't even expect to show you this video, hence the reason that there are no real exterior lights on and it's a little bit darker than normal. And anytime that I start really feeling down on myself or questioning my lifts, one of the bad problems I have is I start to rethink everything in terms of my form, how I do things. And that's really not something I should do because I really need to trust the process. And that's where working with a coach can really come into play. And if you guys have been following me for any length of time, you know I've been working with coaches on and off for the past several years. And it's also within the past several years that I've really seen a significant increase in my overall strength. Now, there's a lot of benefits to coaching overall, but for me, the biggest thing I get out of it is the fact that I stress out a lot less about programming and training than I did in the past. And I know some of you might beg to differ if you've ever listened to any of these commentaries, as it seems all I do is complain and bitch and question my own life. But literally before, when I was doing my own programming, even though I was very successful at it, anytime I came upon a bump in the road, I would literally consider starting from scratch and starting from something completely different. So completely changing my training strategy, and that definitely messed me up. So I was going through a period of time where I would program hop all the time, kind of do my own programming, hybrid, never really trust the system. And although I made progress, I didn't make as much as I did when I started working with someone and having them take that stress off of me. In that same vein, it's also nice to have conversations with someone who has detailed information about my program, only because oftentimes I feel like things aren't going well, things feel heavy, they're not moving right, I need to improve my form, and it's really nice to have a reassuring voice on the other side that's soothing and puts me back in my place. Speaking of in my place, you're watching my last set of low bar pause squats for a 3x3 with 410 pounds. I decided to turn the lights on for this particular one and take the sweatshirt off because every Monday I've been trying to upload a poop face to Instagram because I have the tendency to make some terrible faces while squatting. Now, getting back on topic here, many people do think that coaching is too expensive, and I agree it can be depending on which program you go with or which coach you go with and how long you train with them. But just to put it in perspective, when I worked with Dan Green for 2 or 3 training cycles, can't remember, it's been a while now, I ended up paying close to about $2,000 of my own money for that time. And although I did learn a lot, I don't think most people would be willing to pay that much for those kind of services. And that's not to say you have to pay a lot of money to get a good coaching experience. However, sometimes it does correlate directly. But in my instance, you guys know a couple of months ago, we ran a guided coaching program, myself and Garrett Blevins, one of the strongest people that I know. So I have to say nice things about him because he would beat my ass. But we ran a 20-week guided coaching program for a very affordable, like $2 a day. And I think we had something like 100 to 120 people run it. The program was 20 weeks in length, but it was split up into 5-week blocks, which really equated to about $70 every 5 weeks, which I don't really think is too bad. Now, that being said, Garrett's actually going to be running another instance of this 20-week block, DUP style training with fatigue debt built in. Pretty fancy stuff, way more than I could ever come up with, but he's also doing it in conjunction with Ben Rice. So if you guys are interested in doing that, they're starting on March 21st, and I will link that in the description box for more information. But I've really benefited from a coach, and I just hope to keep on milking them gains. In the meantime, as always, thanks for watching, and stay big.